Blanket prohibitions on alcohol consumption and outlets that serve alcohol will not necessarily eliminate the behavior altogether.
We have to bear in mind that we're living in a society, like many parts of the world, whereby it's not only Muslims in the country. We cannot ban them because it is going against their rights.
And that is not the right way for us to solve all sort of problems through that manner.
Fatal accidents caused by drink driving have been all over the news recently, and I think we can all agree that something needs to be done to prevent this from happening in the future. There are some who believe that we should ban alcohol altogether as a solution, but would this actually be effective?
There is some benefit to a total ban, because it means that there will be an overall reduction in consumption, which is what bans are usually looking to do. However, if you're looking to ban something in order to eliminate it, that's very, very unlikely to happen, because there is a human tendency towards something called psychological reactance, which is when you remove my choice entirely, I am going to push back and find a way to do the thing that you're telling me that I cannot do. Scenario of this was the prohibition in the early 20th century in the United States. You had people going underground to look for alcohol. You had bootlegging, you had smuggling. And what you also didn't have then is the ability to regulate and make sure that the levels of alcohol in each beverage were at a certain level, and it was clearly stated, people know what they were getting into. So if we were to ban it altogether and people were to look for alcohol outside where people are brewing their own, we don't have any way of determining what levels of alcohol are going to be in each drink. And if people behave in the same way that they do now, which is they drive after they drink, the impact of that might not necessarily be any different than it is now.
You can't really just simply say, I want to ban, and then pop, the next minute everything disappears. It will not be. And then that is not the right way for us to solve all sort of problems through that manner. If that's a solution, we don't even can have bank. People will go and rob the bank, then we don't have bank. Right? So people will cheat your money, so don't have money. Is it what we're trying to work out for all a solution for everything? Is this not?
We have to bear in mind that we're living in a society, like many parts of the world, whereby it's not only Muslims in the country. So if we have the right to do things because our religion says it's okay to do so, then it should be carried across other ethnicities as well. So in such circumstances, we cannot ban them because it is going against their rights.
In your opinion, what is a better perspective or context when dealing with this issue?
Is being drunk a crime? Okay, even the road act does not say you are drunk is a crime. It says behavior because of being intoxicated. Recent article indicated that incidences related to drunk drivers causing accidents is less than 100. So if you compare that to the actual accidents that occur on the road annually, that's actually a fraction of the statistics. So whether or not we should ban alcohol content purely based on the numbers of people who end up dead because of a drunk driver, we got to do a rethink. I think the concern is keeping the streets safe from all sorts of drivers, not only because they're drunk, but because some of them are reckless, some of them are immature, some of them drive without license. They modify the vehicles so much that the vehicles will definitely cause an accident on the road. So it's not a matter of banning alcohol content or alcohol entirely for that matter, but who should actually be allowed to drive on the road? In other words, only responsible people should be allowed to drive.
Sebelum itu saya telah mengarahkan netizen untuk melihat semula hinaan kepada Akta Pengangkutan Jalan 1987, khususnya daripada Seksyen 41 hingga 45.
But more important thing is that we must know it is not only the enforcement were able to bring the result, or else every part of the world will end up police state and solve all the problem. We had to work on education. We have to also utilize engineering approach to control it. So all these three were to work hand in hand to get the result, the good, impactful result out of it.
Stiffening the laws could help, but it's not enough to just make them harsher. People need to know what those laws are and how they could get into trouble. But it's not enough to just tell people don't do something. You also have to give them, this is what you can do instead. That way they feel more efficacious in terms of what they can do, and they're much more likely to then perform the correct behaviors.